All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Multiverse. So, a lot has changed since the last time I cast this game. Mainly because, you kind of got the impression we're heading east. We are a steamroller. We're getting ready to take over the entire eastern region here. And then a couple of big things happen. That's why I'm casting right now. Because up until now, it's kind of been business as usual. So what was happening here is Papa Smitty was continuing his relentless push east here into Euclid. And you can see that battle is still, still rolling along here with him with his giant stacks of goddamn heavy tanks. And, I'm kind of buying into this heavy tank thing, got to say. I mean, think about it. What you're doing is you're stiffening up your armies and delivering a lot of damage, and yet, being able to absorb a lot of damage too, and really rolling through and keeping a lot of the infrastructure behind. So you can see he took this territory over, and it still has a level 2 factory. It still has fragments of a fortress and both of its main production boosters there, the harbor and the railway. And if you had done that with artillery, it'd all be gone. So I'm kind of impressed with that. Also, it's a lot faster. Let's face it, you're moving at 36 kilometers per instead of 25. So you're moving a lot faster as you invade. So I'm loving that attack. Until recently, I was attacking him with planes. And then at some point I realized, A, he doesn't need me, and B, there's just not enough airfields. So I went ahead and turned around and headed the other direction because we're going to America next. So here's the big thing that changed, and this is pretty darn big. You'll notice, possibly, that there's not a bunch of blue dots out here anymore. Why is that? Well, it's because our friend here, our good friend who's been with us from the very beginning, Popcat, had a loss in his family. And it was clear that it was one of those things that you don't just keep on playing this game on the side. It was something that hit him hard. And so seriously, we're all just kind of hoping for the best for him and his family. He had to leave the game suddenly. And I'm usually like, oh, you got to yeet your guys out to sea or something or other. Not in this situation, man. I could tell the message he sent me was like, death in the family. I'm retiring from all my games. And so it's not just this game, it's all games, right? He's just taking care of business. So Popcat, man, I hope everything works out. And, this is going to shift the way we play this game, but that doesn't matter. This is a game. So really hoping all the best for Popcat and his family as they weather. And the thing is, I don't really know him that well other than playing in game with him. I don't know him, as an individual. So I don't know what's happened, what his situation is, who it is that passed. But, I know enough to know that he's an honorable, good guy and a good player and a loyal friend. And man, we hope everything goes as good as it can for you, my friend. If you come back and watch this video at some point, I hope you know that you're in our thoughts and our hearts, man, life can sometimes really suck. Anyway, so what that means for me is I went ahead and switched on my infantry. In other words, my recruitment centers here. I had them off for the longest time, and weirdly, 3 or 4 days, maybe even a week before Popcat quit, I turned them back on. And I don't know what my thinking was. I guess my thinking was I have plenty of my food sources here. You can see I'm gaining over 1,000 per hour of my food stuff. So I was like, I can afford, actually at this point, I can afford to have them. Why not? I've been kind of crimping them off just so I could afford to concentrate all of my resources on planes. But I went ahead and decided to go ahead and start those. And weirdly, 4 or 5 days later, Popcat quits the game, and suddenly I have hundreds of infantry that I'm now going to use to kind of push back and try to take over his territory little by little. Now, I'm not going to do the thing where you go and stack the territory and take it over all at once. I'm thinking what I'm going to do is go ahead and stack the border, and I'm just going to methodically just attack northwest and try to take as much of this as I can little by little. So keeping that in mind, I flew my entire Air Force back here, got a lot of planes that are really going to help me to attack in. I'm probably going to divide it in maybe 4 different Air Forces along the border here and have that kind of help me to attack in to take over this territory. Keep in mind, Popcat has all of the Isle of Britain here, all of Greenland here, and part of Iceland, and then all this stuff in the new land over in the new world over here. So it's like, holy crap, there's a lot of stuff that he controls right now. I'm not even going to try to kind of approach that. I really just want to take over this stuff here and kind of unify and enlarge my country. And I'm taking a page from Papa Smitty. Now, I will be bombing in with my planes whenever it's necessary, but let me take you over to my production tab here. What I'm going to be doing over here, let's go ahead and bring up the factories, and you'll see what I'm building over here is heavy tanks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37. And that was a rough count. Obviously, it could be a little more or a little less than 37 heavy tanks. And then I'm building tanks as well. I'm building 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23. I don't know, man. So 27 heavy tanks and 25 light tanks. I don't know, something along those lines. And so what I'm going to do is just stack the border and just march northwest and just slowly take everything over and use the Air Force behind rather than try to meticulously plan all of these individual territories, stack them up. And I think what's happened here is, yeah, the AI has taken over. You can tell the AI has taken over because he's marching to the border. That's good news for me because that's what the AI does. It stacks the border. But once I break through the border here, then I can just run roughshod through the backcountry. And that's really good news for me because I can take over those territories without having to bomb them out heavily with my bombers and wreck whatever's in those territories. So that's the plan for now. I'm going to try to take over Popcat's territories back here, particularly because of this. Look at my popularity, folks. 1% popularity. I've never seen popularity that low in my life. But if you think about it, what I've been doing this whole time is flying my Air Force all over the place and declaring war on all the enemies of the people that I'm in the coalition with. So I declared war on 3 guys over here, or 4 really. I declared war on like 3 or 4 guys down here in South America. And I declared war here when we were securing Africa. And so I've really been declaring war a lot. And then, you know, even though I went back to peace with this guy, he left Africa and came over to the tip of South America. Even though I made peace with him again, don't forget popularity is what you lose when you declare that war. So I've been doing a lot of that. In fact, towards the end, when I was like, I don't know, really low popularity, like 12% or something, I was just like, I'm not even going to declare war. I'm just going to sneak attack because who cares at this point? I'm surrounded by allies, right? And I'm already getting terrible market prices. So there's no reason to worry about it until Popcat left the game. Then I'm like, oh no, there's an AI with a long border with me. And my popularity is so bad. Like I am like the most dreaded of the dread nations, like the most horrifically, you know, everybody hates me kind of scenario. I will tell you this, since it's related to this game, at day change, right, like 2 hours before day change, I disabled 10 of my railways and I had 99 points, game points, reward points. And what the experiment was is if I disable 10 of my railways, will it reduce my game points? Somebody asked that on the channel, and I was like, well, I'm in this game. I got a bunch of railways. I kind of wish I'd done it on a grander scale because I certainly could have like disabled 20 or 30 of them, but I thought 10 of them would be a good sample. So I had 99 reward points, and here we are in the next day. Let me show you how many reward points I have. I now have, well, where is it? Nope. Nope, nope, nope. Why is it just not right here? I feel like, oh, here we go, 100. Like, where is it? So I went from 99 to 100. And that's because I'm continuing to build stuff in the background, you know, material and buildings. So it makes sense that it's going up. But here's what I think I can read from that. is disabling your railways does not reduce your points for railways. It does reduce your production. It does reduce your ability to move fast, and it does prevent you from moving rail guns along the length of it. But my prediction here, based on this limited experiment, is that it does not knock down your reward points. So I'm going to cover that in a video here in tips and tactics pretty soon here. I'm going to talk about reward points and a little bit of how to spam those reward points. I've had some discussions with some of our new friends. It's cool because in this community, we're constantly getting new people that are getting turned onto the channel for one way or another. We're up to over 500 subscribers now. But the really great thing about that is that we keep on getting new people in that have new perspectives and new knowledge that they're sharing with us. And it's just benefiting everyone. Like, all of us benefit from that kind of thing. So I'm going to share a little bit of what has been discussed in terms of how to spam up your reward points. So for instance, you're in a game, a big game like this, and you're ready for the game to end. But your coalition only has, let's just use our example here, your coalition only has 1,068. You need 1,500 reward points to win the game. How can you spam those extra points? We're going to talk about that in a tips and tactics here coming up. And also we're going to discuss that whole idea of whether or not you lose reward points by deactivating buildings. So that's all coming soon to this channel. Again, as I learn more, I'm going to share it with you on those tips and tactics and in some of those other videos. I need to continue working on my noob videos. I started strong with those. I think I've got 10 or 12 of those over there for people who have just really, really have not played very often, or just learning how to play. Get more of those up and running. I don't know if I've told you guys, but I've got a new job. I'm not a teacher anymore. I decided not to teach junior high math anymore because, that shit sucked. It was like 50-hour weeks if I'm lucky, and then maybe, like, especially during the pandemic, like 60-hour weeks. And then, like, the kids are great. They really are. You think about 8th grade, 9th grade kids, like, they're still kind of innocent in some ways. They're young. They're optimistic. They don't know how horrible the world really is. And in some ways it did keep me young, I feel like, but on the other hand, it's like, oh my God, the work, just the sheer emotional and intellectual energy that you have to expend to keep, 28, 14-year-olds on one single task. It's just, oh my God. So the new job I have, I'm working as a sort of a liaison, and I'm helping people to access government funds, state funds in this case, to get retrained. So like, people are trying to get their CDL license so that they can be truckers. They're trying to get their CNA license so that they can be certified nurses assistants. We got people coming up through IT programs, and it's actually really, really cool, fulfilling work. These are people who are coming in, and, a lot of them are really in bad financial situations, and I'm able to say, hey, look, if you're willing to study and go to these programs, we can access these government funds and get you into these careers. And it's a win-win for everyone. Like, when a person gets into a career and now they're paying taxes and they're making car payments and they're kind of like integrated and successful into society, like, it's good for everyone. So I'm loving this job. And I'll also say, the office that they put me in, I was in Central City, which is like in downtown Kansas City, really, really busy. Lots of people coming through there. But then they transferred me out to this Independence office. And Independence is a smaller town kind of on the outskirts of Kansas City, because there wasn't an instructor there. And I have a specific sort of skill set as a former teacher. They have me as the instructor. So I'm running workshops, and I'm, doing things that kind of relate to my skill set as a teacher. And like today at work, I had one person come through one of my workshops. I had like 6 or 7 workshops scheduled throughout the day, and one person came in. Now that's a light day. Usually I'll have more like 5 or 6, maybe even 7 or 8 come through for various workshops. I have resume workshops where I help them to punch up their resumes. I have workshops where they learn basic computing skills. Some of these older people come in, they need help just with basic, really honestly basic stuff, like how to do Word, how to control alt delete, like how to use the backspace. Like, seriously, some of these people. But anyway, what I'm saying is I can use some of my downtime at work to kind of work on some of these side projects. And that's what I want to do with the noob stack. I want to keep on building that noob stack so that someone can come in who's only played 1914 for a couple weeks, and they can kind of work their way through that stack and learn a lot of those fundamentals, the things that maybe a lot of other people take for granted, things like how each unit moves and, when to, how to run in your fast units first so they can capture the territory and make the rest of your units go faster, because friendly territory, you're faster on your own territory than you are in enemy territory. Little things like that I think we take for granted a lot of times, but that I do want to include in a future stack. All right, I've been rambling way too much. It's been a while since I've posted something in this series, so I think that's why. But let me just let you guys go. We got big stuff coming down the pike. I'm going to be starting to release some videos that are teasers for our next big event. We're going to keep on doing alliance games, so that's not the big event. The big event is going to be our specialty stacks. And so what that means is, I'll just give you a teaser right now. I'm going to open up a 31-player map. I'm going to be the one. So I'll be neutral, casting. Everyone's going to share vision with me so that I can see everyone in the game. Since there are 30 slots left, there are going to be 10 3-person teams. Those teams can work together or not. That's up to them. I don't care. But here's the catch. Each team has a specialist, all right? In fact, all 3 of them are specialists in their own right. One of them can only build land units. So that person's going to have an advantage. They can build those early units like cavalry, armored cars, and then they can build, as soon as factories are built, they can go on and build that artillery. The second player in the team is going to be able to build only navy. So no cavalry, no cars, no artillery, only navy units. Now, as soon as they have a factory and a harbor, they can start churning out those cruisers. So they can get some units on the board, but not until they have a factory and a harbor. Compare that to the land guy. All the land guy has to have is a workshop, and he can start churning out, right? Level 1 workshop, he can start churning out cars. Level 1 workshop and a barracks, and he can start churning out cavalry. So clearly, they're going to depend on the land guy who's going to be churning out units early, right? And then the third guy, of course, you probably guessed it, is going to be air units only. So this guy, the air units only, he's going to have to wait until he gets to a level 2 factory and an airfield before he can churn out any airplanes. Now, you'll probably point out the fact that after he gets a factory, and just a factory, he can start to churn out balloons, right? So balloons are great defensively, but they're not so good in the game until there's a lot of air on the board. So balloons are great against air, though. They're really, really good defensively against air, and you can stack them with ground units. That's the great thing about balloons, is you put them into a stack with ground units, and they just merge into that stack, right? Whereas, of course, planes never do merge in with a stack of infantry. Planes always keep to their own little stack. You probably noticed that. I know you have. But so it's going to be a really, really cool game. So I'm going to start teasing that game out there. I'm going to share a few videos about it. I'm going to have a spreadsheet where people can volunteer and join into it. And I think in about a month, I'm going to go ahead and start that game. It's going to be fun, and I'm going to cast it live. So hang in there, guys. Check out that coming event. Meanwhile, if you're in the Alliance, I'm going to start Alliance games. We're in the middle of a huge game right now, the Gladiator Arena. Go over and check out that stack if you haven't already. And it's a roller coaster ride. It's going back and forth and back and forth. Oh, and I just realized you can't go check it out because I haven't released it yet. And I'm not going to release it because it's high stakes, folks. It is high drama. First we were winning, then we were losing, and then we were winning again. And I feel like we're kind of winning now, but I don't trust anything. It's me and my team against Benaiah and his team. And there's some high-level play going on. The cool thing about that stack, when I do release it, is Benaiah is also casting it from his side. So when I put it all together and you see it on this channel, I'm going to release them little by little. When you see it, it's going to be day one, my perspective, what our plans are. And then the next video will be day one, Benaiah's perspective and what they're planning. and back and forth like that throughout the entire game. So you're going to be kind of like God. You're going to be able to see what everyone's plans are. You're going to know where everyone's troops are because you're going to see both sides, right? You're going to see my vision and what all my guys are doing. Then you're going to see Benaya's vision and what all they're doing. And you're going to actually know when tragedy is going to strike before we do, right? So it's going to be a lot of fun. So you cannot jump over there. Sorry, I asked you to jump over there. You can't jump over there quite yet, unless you're watching this game after, after it's a bit old. I think the game is going to be decided over there within a couple weeks. I thought it was going to be over like maybe by now, but things have changed. It's been a roller coaster ride, as I mentioned. So that'll be a lot of fun. When that comes out, it's going to be called the Gladiator Arena. Look out for that as well. So we got big stuff coming down the pike, guys. If you're an active player and you want to get involved, then look for that game. What I'm going to call it, I'm going to call it Nerf, Surf, and Turf. Right, so Nerf is the air power, right? Because you have Nerf airplanes and you Nerf darts fly through the air. I know it's a stretch, but I needed something that rhymed with surf and turf, right? Surf and turf. If you order surf and turf, it's always going to be seafood and steak, right? So in other words, sea and land. So Nerf, surf and turf is air, navy, right? Air, water, and land. So that game's going to come out, so keep an eye out for that. That's going to be a lot of fun. We can accommodate 30 people, so really, there shouldn't be anyone that gets shut out of this one. So I'm hoping we can move forward with that as well. All right, that's about it, guys. This has been way too long, but I'm glad you hung in there. If you have hung in there this long, thank you. Appreciate you hanging out, and I'll see you all next time. So adios, amigos.